I threw up on a guy's dick, twice. That's it, I mean I was sucking his dick and I had drank a little and I threw up Then I got up and washed my face and stuff and then later he said it's fine and we just did it again and I threw up again and he's like it's okay, it's not her fault, but what is wrong with me? I'm so embarrassed. Do I never talk to him again? How bad is it? My sister's boyfriend used to please himself to 7-year-old me. Hello. I am 15F now. I have an older sister, 24F, let's call her Leah. Leah dates this loser, Dan, 25M. They dated for 2 years in high school, broke up, and decided to date again a year ago. Dan was a bad influence on Leah. He encouraged her to use drugs and get drunk, almost made her drop out of school, etc. When my parents left them to babysit me and our little brother, Dan and her would ditch us to smoke weed and have a D. At the time, our brother was 4 and I was 7, Leah was 16 and Dan 17. Dan would always act weird around me. I actually really loved my sister and I was very little and didn't know about drugs and rock and roll yet, so I admired Dan and Leah and looked up to them. I thought they were such cool and smart teenagers, listening to metal music and making cool art and playing D&D. They were. But sometimes Dan was acting off. He would always tickle me and touch me. I remember one time I knocked on their door and they invited me to their room. I was so excited they let me in, but Leah was topless and Dan wore only underpants. I was confused, and then Dan came to me and took my shirt off. He then proceeded to say such things as, "Ha! You have no boobs. One day you'll be a woman and beautiful like your sister." My sister just laughed, kissed him. After this, they kicked me out and I left really confused. He would always grab me and force me sit on him and kissed my neck. I always struggled and tried to run because I felt uncomfortable, and Leah would just laugh. I also found Dan messing up my closet searching for stuff. He would always go out of my room with a pair of my underwear. He would always make comments about my body, telling me how I look pure and innocent. When my sister wasn't around, he would take me to their room, lock the door, and play truth or dare with me, literally just placing me on a chair and putting his hand in his underwear. Sometimes he would force me to kiss him and to take my shirt off. I always felt really bad. Now I know he used to please himself. When I told my parents about him acting funny they were mortified, but my sister convinced them I was only joking, when I wasn't, and she broke up with him after she found out he cheated on her. I fucking hate my sister for allowing him to be like this. And I feel uncomfortable in his presence now. He always tells me how much of a beautiful woman I am now, I'm not, and that he's sure anybody would want to fuck me, how he's sure it's a delicate pleasure to make love to me. But they don't live with us, and I only see him once a week. Not sure what to do about him. My married sister and engaged best friend are having an affair and I am stuck in the middle. I am a 26M and my older sister Julie is 28F. Julie is married to Tanner, 29M, and they have 2 kids that are 6 years and 5 mo old. I have been best friends with Kyle, 26M, since we were in diapers. Kyle is engaged to Kathy, 28F, and have a wedding date set in November. Kathy and Julie went to high school together and have been close friends for years. Kyle and I both work at a gym that Tanner owns. We all live in a town with less than 2,000 people that live here. 2 weeks ago I was out with Tanner getting lunch before heading back to work, when Tanner started to swear while looking at his phone. He showed me the phone and while looking on his baby camera app, Tanner saw Julie and Kyle kissing and getting intimate. Tanner started yelling at me asking if I knew about it, where I was in shock and told him no. Tanner started taking screenshots of the images and said he was going home for the day. That night he ended up confronting his wife, my sister, Julie. She admitted to having an affair with Kyle, my best friend, for months. Kathy was out of town that night but Tanner called her to tell her what was going on. Kathy came back the next day and immediately called off the wedding and kicked Kyle out of the house. Tanner took the same route and also asked Julie to leave the house so he could think over how to go about separating while also keeping the children in mind. A few days later Julie and Kyle decided to move out of our town into a town 20 minutes away and rent an apartment together. 2 days ago I helped to move them in and I am getting a lot of heat from Tanner and Kathy. Kyle is my best friend and Julie is my sister and I know what they did was wrong but I also know that they don't have a lot of support at the moment and they are both family to me. This takes us to today. Tanner is now telling me I am not allowed to see my niece and nephew since I decided cheaters are more important than him. I also lost my job today, where Tanner was my boss. I am stuck in the middle where my best friend and sister were the ones who had the affair but Kathy has become like family as well as Tanner and my niece and nephew. I am stuck in the middle of the family drama as I am the single one of our now broken friend group of 5. I hate the way my boyfriend proposed to me, twice. The first time he proposed I was pregnant and well aware he was planning it. He even told me that he had finally gotten the ring sized. I came home with my other 2 kids and in the middle of me talking to them he asked, "Will you marry me?" We said this from time to time just being sweet so I laughed and said of course while continuing to handle my children who were being difficult. He then pulled out the ring. I was instantly upset but tried to act happy. There was just no thought into it whatsoever. No dinner, no cute event, Not even maybe my kids holding up a cute sign. I just wanted something. Just in the middle of me parenting my children after a long day of work. It hurt. He eventually realized I was upset because being pregnant I really couldn't hold back the disappointment. He said he would make it up to me and that he didn't realize it was important. I expressed how we wouldn't be able to afford a nice wedding and we were already doing everything backwards, so I just wanted a sweet proposal. I never planned to be married twice and I wanted a good memory. Fast forward about a year later. The baby was napping and my other two kids were with their biological father. My boyfriend and I had sex, and right after he just said again, "Will you marry me?" I said of course again, and he pulled out the ring. He later said he couldn't think of anything. I just said it was fine and I was happy, but honestly I'm not. Literally no effort again. He knows I will say yes, we have a kid together, we live together, and it's what I want, but I still wanted romance. He could have had a onesie for the baby made that said "Will you marry me?" Maybe a nice speech, breakfast in bed, anything. Like WTF? I'm struggling with PPD, my body is wrecked, I'm sleep deprived, and have already been feeling worthless. This just solidifies how unimportant I really am. I don't know how to shake this and I honestly don't even want to announce it. I just feel like going to the courthouse and getting it over with, because at this point it just feels like an obligation rather than what two people do when they are in love and want to be together forever. Daycare job called the police on me for not showing up. Is this legal? I had planned to work there a month until my other job, seasonal, $16 an hour, starts back up. This daycare job during the interview said they pay $12 an hour. My first day there a week ago the woman said it's only $7.65 an hour. I only did it for a week just to get some pocket money. I'm already looking into some retail jobs right now. I was there all of last week Monday, Friday. I worked 35 hours. I did not show up today. The other red flag is I am 20, I've babysat before, right? They told me I would have this other person working with me to help me learn the job. She was there 10 minutes each morning and I was left alone with 25, 3 to 5-year-olds. I had no access to use the bathrooms throughout my 7-hour shift, so I had to dehydrate myself. Every time I called the manager to have her stay in the room, could not leave kids alone ever. She said, "You are an adult, you have control over your body, you do not need the bathroom, I cannot watch your class for you." WTF? I did not even tell her I was quitting. They did not treat me right, left me unexperienced alone with 25 little kids, would not let me use the bathroom and lied about the pay. A cop showed up this morning saying that job reported me for child abandonment. Is this legal? I even explained to him how the job lied/treated me.